Thank you for taking a look at our HireTrack Eclipse system. My name is Greg Smith and I'm the training manager for Navigator Systems. What I want to do is take you through a very quick demonstration of how our software works so you can see some of the basics. And what we've tried to do with our system is we've tried to mimic a paperwork system. A lot of companies, when you have a job or a production that's upcoming, might create that job in Microsoft Word or Excel or something like that, and then once that information is sent off to the client, you then take that paperwork and stick it into a manila file folder, write a job number and a name on the outside of it, and then store it in a file cabinet. We've tried to reproduce that same process in our software system. And so when you open up the job book, it's going to open up to the last job that you were working on. In this case, it's a product launch for some washing powder. If I click on the documents, I can see any documents that I've created, the equipment list where the actual equipment is selected for our order, any invoices that you've raised or revenue, and then any purchases that you might make as well. The job book also contains information about transportation, including trucking, as well as any labor that might be required for the job, and then also any emails that have been sent. For our demonstration, when you're playing with our demo software, the quickest and easiest thing to do is you can also scroll through these buttons here using the left and right to see all these different jobs. You can click on the Job Navigator to see all the jobs that are currently in the system. Let's resize that so you can see that a little better. But what we'll do for our purposes is we're going to go ahead and create a new job. Now you'll see automatically it gives it a new job reference number, and then we'll give it a job name. So I'll type in, we'll say the Office Max Show, and then I'll come here and I'll pick out who the client is. Now if I were to go in and just type in a few characters, for instance FO, I'm going to see all of the companies that have FO in their names. So if I simply select the Fox company, it dumps all their information into the address field. There's a space here that contains client notes as well as any insurance information that's stored here as well. If I click up here, I'll pick out a job type for my job, so it's a big show, and then I'll set my status right here. You can also select from a list of handlers or production managers on the job, and then we'll set our dates. By clicking here, I can go in and select a calendar. If I need to click on the month or the year, I can change any of those right there. We'll say this is going out on August 24th, and then maybe it's returning on August 31st. Now from here next I might select a list of contacts for this company, so I'll go here and I'll pick Art Vandelay, and you'll see Art automatically populates his name here. But I can also store additional contacts related to this job, so maybe I'll pick Elaine Bennis, and then maybe the next I'll pick George Costanza as additional contacts for this job. Elaine could be the catering manager, and then maybe George is the stage manager. And so you can very quickly type in this information and send them emails or anything that you need to for this job. Now typically at this point our next step is we would then go in and create an equipment list for the job. So I'm going to click on the equipment list tab, and then using the icon right here of the create new, I will then go in and create a new equipment list. Now the first thing that the software needs to know is where you're going to be delivering it to. So if I go up here, I'm going to pick out maybe the Marriott World Center. I'll go ahead and select that. You'll see the address automatically populates. If you need to see information about the facility, there is a full venue module including directions on how to get there, access, stage and rigging points, power information, and then house information is stored there as well. My dates are selected, but you'll also notice that I have a setup date. We'll say the 25th, and maybe we need to be show ready on the 28th, and then the strike is going to occur on the 30th. Now from here next I'm going to select my equipment. So when I click on to the description, this opens up the pop stock window right here. If I go in and I type in something like an amp, you'll see that I've got an amplifier rack here. Now notice this yellow background, and what that tells me is that's what we call in HireTrack a composite. It's a series of, it's a listing of equipment made up of several pieces and parts. It's a virtual piece of equipment basically. If I click up here on the Composites tab, I can see that it's made up of these three amplifiers, a road case, and a speaker processor. And what the system does is it looks out at the availability of all the component pieces and calculates a master availability of how many amplifier racks I'll have available. So I simply select the amplifier rack, and next I'm ready to enter my next piece. If I type in something like LIG, you'll see it brings up all kinds of equipment that contains those three letters, including a slick light beam, 2 meter or 3 meter, and it doesn't matter where in the description those names appear. It can be LIG, could be in the middle, the beginning, or end. Now you'll notice this one type right here is listed as a small lighting rig, and the green background indicates to me that that's what we call an alias. It's an auto enter function. So if I click on the reminders and aliases, I can go to here and see what all the pieces and parts that are made up of that. So by selecting it, simply double click it and it will populate everything on the order. Now as you look at the list here, you'll notice some of these pieces are in red, and the reason they're in red is because we don't have them available. So perhaps we need to create sub-hire or sub-rental from a separate vendor in order to cover those shortages, which we'll talk about at a later date. Now once I've got this information entered in here, I might want to apply a discount to the order, so I'm going to go in and apply a 25% discount. And notice that it goes down and applies a 25% discount to these pieces. But I can also go in and give something, let's say a 28% discount, or if I wanted to, I could type in an amount, let's say $15, and it would calculate out the discount for me. Now if the customer comes back to you and says, look, I've only got $1,000 to spend on this order, what you need to do then is you simply go up here and enter $1,000 into the order. And now when I click out of there, what it will do is it'll calculate out the discounts of a 41% discount in order to hit that target price of $1,000. But notice that it did not change the manually entered prices that I entered into the system. It still maintained those prices automatically. So you have a lot of control over how this equipment list is created. That's the basics of HireTrack. We encourage you to check out some of our other videos, and if you have any questions, please contact us at Navigator Systems right away. Thanks for watching.